If you grew up in the 1950s, you remember that ice skating wasn't something you did at an indoor rink, with shiny Zambonis and neat rows of rental skates. No, for you, ice skating meant waiting for the pond to freeze over. It meant carefully testing the ice, lacing up old skates with fingers so cold they could barely move. And then, finally, gliding across the raw, natural ice under an open winter sky. It was cold, the ice was sometimes rough, even a little dangerous. But it was magical, it was pure, it was real, it was the way winter was meant to be experienced. Ice skating wasn't just a sport, it was social, it was romantic. You'd see teenagers going together, couples holding hands as they skated in slow, graceful circles. You'd see friends showing off, then falling, laughing, and helping each other back up. It was a place where friendships were forged, where crush developed, and where winter stopped being just a season of cold and became something beautiful, something worth living. You never really decided to go ice skating, the weather decided for you. All you could do was wait. You waited for the temperatures to drop low enough, and stay low long enough, for the pond to finally freeze. You waited for the ice to thicken, to become solid, safe, and skatable. Your father, or maybe an older brother, would be the one to check. They'd walk down to the pond's edge and test the ice, maybe by tossing a few heavy rocks to see if they'd bounce or break right through. They'd step carefully on the edges, testing the strength. Not ready yet, they'd say. Give it another few days. Patience was everything. You couldn't rush nature. You couldn't force the freeze. But when that ice was finally ready, the news would spread like wildfire. The pond is frozen. The lake is solid. The ice is good. It traveled through neighborhoods, echoed through school hallways, passed from person to person. There were no phones, no internet, just the simple, excited sharing of news. Meet at the pond after school, bring your skates. And those skates, they weren't anything fancy back in the 1950s. They were often hand-me-downs, passed from an older sibling or maybe bought second-hand. Simple metal blades attached to stiff leather boots. The laces were always either too long or too short, never quite right. But you made do. You didn't complain. Just having a pair of skates was enough. Getting ready meant bundling up, even more than usual, because you knew you'd be outside for hours, right on the ice, in the biting wind. Layers. So many layers. Long underwear, thick pants, 2 pairs of socks stuffed into your boots, then the heavy coat, the scarf wrapped tight, a hat pulled down over your ears, and of course, mittens. You'd carry your skates, slung over your shoulder, and start the walk to the pond. Sometimes it was a mile, sometimes more, through the cold and the snow. But you were so excited, so full of anticipation, you were ready. When you arrived, the pond would already be crowded. It seemed like everyone was there. Kids, teenagers, young adults, even whole families, all drawn to the ice, drawn to the one activity that made the deep cold of winter worth enduring. Some were already skating, gliding in graceful circles. Others were struggling, new to this, learning how to balance, falling down, and getting right back up. You'd find a spot to sit on a log, a rock, or just the frozen ground. You'd unlace your boots, pull them off, and start the ritual of putting on your skates. Lacing them up tight, making sure your ankles were supported. Your cold fingers would fumble with the laces, tying knots, double knots, triple knots, doing anything to make sure they wouldn't come loose and send you tumbling. Then you'd stand up, wobbling awkwardly on the blades. Skates were never meant for land. You'd shuffle to the edge of the ice, take a deep breath, and step on. And suddenly, it all made sense. There was balance, there was glide. There was movement. This is what skates were for. This is what the ice was for. You'd push off, one foot, then the other, slowly gaining speed, gaining confidence. Soon, you were flying. The ice was never perfect, not smooth like it is today. There were bumps and cracks, rough patches and frozen bubbles that created a unique texture under your blades. You had to navigate it, adjust your balance, and sometimes you fell. You hit the hard, unforgiving ice, but you always got up, brushed yourself off, and kept on skating. That's just what you did. That was skating. The very best part was skating with other people. You and your friends would form long chains, holding hands, whipping around in a circle until the person on the end went flying, spinning out and tumbling across the ice, always followed by peals of laughter. Or you'd see couples skating together, holding hands, moving in a perfect, synchronized rhythm. It was so romantic, so sweet. The boys would try to show off, skating backward or attempting a fancy spin to impress the girls. Sometimes it worked, and sometimes pride came before the fall, quite literally. Sometimes there was even music. Someone might have brought a batter-powered portable radio, its tinny sound carrying across the ice. Or people would just sing and shout, creating their own atmosphere, their own soundtrack for the afternoon, for the memory that was being made right then and there. Do you remember ice skating on frozen ponds in the 1950s? Where did you skate? Did you have your own skates? Did you fall? Share your ice skating memories in the comments below. We want to hear your winter stories. After a while, you'd need a break to warm up. You'd skate to the edge, find your spot, and begin the difficult task of unlacing your skates with frozen, numb fingers. Someone might have built a small fire on the shore, a little circle of warmth where you could hold out your hands and thaw your numb fingers and toes. Someone else might have brought thermoses filled with hot chocolate or coffee, passing them around, sharing the warmth, sharing a drink. It was a community, a moment of togetherness. You'd rest, talk, and laugh, recounting the best falls, the near misses, and the bravest attempts. And then, it was back to the ice, back to skating. Because you didn't want to waste a single second of this. The pond wouldn't be frozen forever. Winter wouldn't last forever. This moment was temporary, and that made it precious. You wanted every minute you could get. Eventually, the light would begin to fade, the temperature would drop even further, and you knew it was time to go home. Reluctantly, slowly, you'd unlace your skates one last time. You'd pull on your boots, which now felt cold, stiff, and damp from melted snow. Tying the laces, you'd stand up and begin the walk home, skates over your shoulder, feeling tired, cold, but so incredibly happy. The walk home was always quieter, more reflective. Your body was tired, your feet were sore, and your face was wine-burned, your cheeks bright red, but you were satisfied, content. You had spent the day outside, you had skated, you had lived winter fully and completely, the way it was meant to be lived. And you knew that tomorrow, if the ice held, you might just do it all over again. Back in your warm house, with warm food and a hot drink, you'd finally thaw out, already feeling nostalgic for the afternoon, for the ice, for the cold, stark beauty of it all. If this brought back memories of frozen ponds, old skates, and afternoons spent gliding on natural ice, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to Yesterday Lives. We are preserving the winters, the simple joys, and the experiences that made the cold worth enduring. Because yesterday never truly disappeared. It just laced up a pair of old skates, stepped onto a frozen pond, and reminded us that some of life's best moments happened on the ice, under an open sky, in the beautiful, unforgettable cold.